Sometimes the best revenge is letting someone think they've won, especially when you know what's really coming. I'm Rebecca Morgan, and this is the story of how my mother-in-law's greed led to her biggest mistake. I come from a family of jewelers, third generation. My grandfather started with a small shop in New York's Diamond District, and my father turned it into Morgan Rare Gems, one of the most respected names in high-end jewelry. But when I met Christopher Anderson, I kept that part of my life quiet. Chris was perfect, kind, funny, and completely uninterested in material things. His mother Patricia, however, was a different story. A jewelry store clerk? She'd sneered when Chris introduced us. Darling, you could do so much better. I didn't correct her assumption. After watching how she treated people she thought had money, I preferred her underestimating me. Besides, I had my reasons for keeping quiet about my family's business. You see, I wasn't just from a family of jewelers. I was a certified gemologist with a special talent for finding rare-colored diamonds. The pink diamond I discovered 2 years before meeting Chris was my masterpiece, an 8.2-carat flawless stone worth millions. My father had it set in a simple gold band, making it look like a pretty but unremarkable rose quartz. The best gems often hide in plain sight, he'd always said. When Chris proposed, he apologized for not being able to afford an expensive ring. I know it's not much, he said, offering a lovely small diamond solitaire. It's perfect, I assured him, and it was. I wore my pink diamond ring on my right hand, letting everyone assume it was costume jewelry. Patricia was horrified by my engagement ring. That tiny thing? Christopher, we need to discuss standards. But Chris stood firm. Becca loves it, Mom. That's all that matters. The wedding planning was a nightmare. Patricia insisted on being involved in every decision, then criticized all our choices. A simple ceremony? But what will people think? She was obsessed with appearances, always dropping hints about their family's old money. Though Chris later admitted most of it was gone, spent on Patricia's endless pursuit of status. I caught her several times trying to snoop through my things, obviously looking for signs of hidden debt or secrets. She couldn't believe someone of her son's status would choose to work in retail without some ulterior motive. A week before the wedding, she cornered me at the bridal shower. I know you're hiding something, she hissed. No one as common as you chooses such a small ring without a reason. I just smiled, touching my pink diamond ring. Sometimes things aren't what they seem, Patricia. She zeroed in on the ring. Like that fake pink stone you're always wearing? Trying to pretend you have something valuable. Something like that. The wedding was beautiful despite Patricia's attempts to make it grander and more showy. Chris and I were happy, and that's what mattered. We settled into married life, both working, he as an architect, me still at the jewelry store. Then I got pregnant. Patricia was initially excited about her first grandchild, until she realized we weren't planning to name the baby after her. Family tradition demands it, she insisted. We're starting our own traditions, Chris replied firmly. As my due date approached, Patricia's behavior became increasingly erratic. She'd show up unannounced, rifle through our things when she thought we weren't looking, and make snide comments about our modest lifestyle. The day I went into labor, everything came to a head. Chris rushed me to the hospital while Patricia insisted on stopping by our house to pick up some things you'll need. I was in the delivery room when she burst in triumphant. I sold your silly rings, she announced. Both of them, your pathetic engagement ring, and that fake pink glass thing you always wear. Now I can finally take that cruise I've been wanting. Through my contractions I managed to ask, where did you sell them? Davidson's Jewelry downtown. They gave me $800 for both, more than that costume junk was worth. I just wish you'd had some real jewelry I could have sold. Chris was furious, trying to make her leave, but I grabbed his arm. Call Davidson's, I whispered. Tell them to check the pink stone carefully. They'll know what to do. He stepped out to make the call, while I focused on breathing through contractions. Patricia was still gloating about her cruise plans when Chris returned, looking pale. Mom, he said quietly, what exactly did you tell the jeweler about that pink ring? Oh, I said it was just costume jewelry my daughter-in-law wore to pretend she had nice things. They barely looked at it before offering $500 for it. Highway robbery for fake stone, if you ask me. My phone rang. Chris answered it and put it on speaker. Mrs. Anderson? A familiar voice said. James Davidson himself, an old family friend. This is about the pink diamond ring that was just sold to us. We've completed our initial assessment, and we need to discuss the price. This stone appears to be the famous Morgan pink, worth approximately $8.2 million. Patricia's face went from smug to shocked to ghost white in seconds. That's impossible, she whispered. I'm afraid not, James continued. This is one of the finest pink diamonds ever discovered. We've already contacted the police about its suspicious acquisition. The seller could face serious charges for theft and fraud. Patricia started to sway. But she's just a jewelry store clerk. It was costume jewelry. Actually, I said between contractions, I'm Rebecca Morgan of Morgan Rare Gems. That pink diamond? I discovered it. And you just committed grand theft. Chris looked stunned. Becca, why didn't you tell me? I wanted someone to love me for me, I explained. And I knew your mother would never let me near you if she knew about my family's money. Money? Patricia's voice was faint. How much money? Morgan Rare Gems is worth about $400 million, I said. But that's not important right now. What's important is that you just tried to sell stolen property worth millions of dollars. The police arrived before I delivered my daughter. They took Patricia into custody, still protesting that she didn't know, that it was all a misunderstanding. We switched the rings months ago, I told the officers. I knew she was going through our things, so I had replicas made. The rings she sold were high-quality fakes worth exactly what Davidson's paid for them. You knew. Patricia screeched as they led her away. You let me think. That you were stealing from your daughter-in-law while she was in labor? Yes, I did. Consider it a lesson about appearances and assumptions. After she was gone, Chris held my hand through another contraction. I can't believe you never told me about your family. Are you angry? He laughed. Angry that my wife is brilliant, successful, and clever enough to catch my mother in her own trap? Never. But I do have one question. Where's the real pink diamond? I smiled through the pain. In my father's vault, along with your real engagement ring. I never wear the real ones when your mother visits. Dad always said the best security is letting people underestimate you. Our daughter was born 2 hours later. Healthy, beautiful, and definitely not named Patricia. We named her Rose instead, partly for the pink diamond that exposed her grandmother's true nature, and partly to remind us that beauty often hides in plain sight. Patricia was charged with attempted grand theft, though the charges were later reduced, since the rings she actually sold were only worth $800. She served 6 months of house arrest, and was ordered to pay restitution. The cruise she'd booked? Non-refundable. She lost the deposit, along with her dignity and her son's trust. Chris was amazed when he finally saw my family's business. All this time, he kept saying, you let Mom treat you like you were nothing. I'm not nothing, I corrected him. I'm exactly who I've always been, someone who values people over possessions. The money and the gems don't change that. The story of Patricia's attempted theft became a legend in jewelry circles. High-end jewelers now use it as a cautionary tale about making assumptions based on appearances. My father found the whole thing hilarious. I always said that pink diamond would change lives, he chuckled. I just didn't expect it to happen quite like this. Patricia tried to apologize eventually, claiming she'd just wanted to teach me a lesson about pretending to be something you're not. But that's exactly what you were doing, I pointed out. Pretending to have money and status you don't have, looking down on others to make yourself feel important. She doesn't visit much anymore. The knowledge that her common daughter-in-law is actually worth millions seems to physically pain her. Last we heard, she was telling her country club friends that she'd known about my family all along, and had just been testing my character. Chris and I still live relatively modestly, though I do wear the real pink diamond ring now. It's become something of a symbol in our family, a reminder that true value isn't always obvious at first glance. Rose is 2 now, and already shows signs of her grandmother's materialism. She's obsessed with shiny things. But we're teaching her the lessons I learned from my family. That character matters more than carrots. That integrity is worth more than any gem. and that sometimes the best way to handle people who underestimate you is to let them show their true colors. The replica rings that Patricia sold? We bought them back from Davidson's and had them framed. They hang in my office at Morgan Rare Gems, along with a newspaper clipping about Patricia's arrest. It's a reminder to everyone that appearances can be deceiving, in more ways than one. Last month, Patricia tried to reconcile by giving Rose a valuable family heirloom necklace. One look told me it was a cheap replica, probably bought at a consignment shop. I didn't say anything. Some lessons about authenticity take time to learn. Chris has embraced our comfortable but not flashy lifestyle, understanding now why I value privacy over display. My mother spent her life trying to seem rich, he observed recently. You spent your life trying to seem normal. That says everything about both of you. The pink diamond that caused all the trouble has become even more valuable. Recent estimates put it at over $10 million. We've been offered huge sums for it, but I keep refusing. Some things are worth more than money, and the lesson it taught about trust, appearances, and karma is priceless. Patricia still sends birthday and Christmas cards, usually with clippings about the latest jewelry auctions or society events. I think it's her way of showing she now understands what she missed by judging too quickly. Or maybe she's just reminding us of what she lost through her own greed. Either way, we keep the cards in the same frame as the replica rings. A family history of sorts, teaching future generations that the true value of anything, whether it's a diamond or a person, isn't always visible at first glance. Rose will inherit the pink diamond someday, along with its story. I hope she'll understand that its real worth isn't in its monetary value, but in the lesson it taught about seeing people for who they really are, not who you assume them to be. As for Patricia, she still goes on cruises, though less expensive ones now. Sometimes she sends us postcards, always mentioning how she's learned to appreciate the simple things in life. We smile and add them to our collection of memories. Reminders that sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even, but about letting people reveal their true nature while you quietly shine on, like a rare pink diamond hiding in plain sight. The jewelry industry has changed since this incident. More high-end jewelers are careful about verifying ownership before purchases, and there's a new appreciation for the art of understated wealth. Patricia inadvertently helped create a more ethical industry, though that's probably not the legacy she was hoping for. In the end, the ring she thought she stole taught everyone valuable lessons about assumptions, authenticity, and the true nature of worth. Not bad for a stone she thought was fake glass. And me? I still work in the family business, still wear simple clothes, and still let people underestimate me sometimes. After all, as my father always says, the most valuable things in life often hide in plain sight, whether they're rare pink diamonds or honest hearts. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.